Hey, Walt here from StogieReview.com with another video cigar review. This time around I have the AKA Cigars Respect, AKA being American Kick-Ass. A couple of weeks ago we got an email from Jay over at AKA Cigars asking if we would be interested in reviewing their product. So I took on the responsibility of taking the samples and putting together a review. Two lines were sent to me, the Respect and the Hybrid. The one we're talking about today is the Respect. Now, I really didn't know much about the line, or didn't know much about the brand at all. But for some reason, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I know this. For some reason, I've heard of AKA Cigars, and it's I don't know, somehow I know it. I don't know where I know it from, but somehow I have a vague recollection of this brand of cigars. So the first thing I did was head over to Stogie Review and key it into the search box. And sure enough, at the end of the search results was a video from IPCPR. It seems that when Jerry and Brian did those abundance of interviews and such, and all that video from IPCPR, tucked away in all of that was a really brief video with Jay of AKA Cigars. Now, the video runs about 1 minute and 18 seconds long. Again, it's very brief, and it sort of touches on the Hybrid. And toward the end of the video, he makes mention of another line of cigars that will be coming out soon. He didn't mention when they were going to be coming out. So, and I believe he called them the Intense or something along those lines, but the cigar wound up being branded the Respect. So I watched the video, and I thought, well, this seems pretty cool. I'm kind of eager to get my hands on the cigars. A couple of days go by, and the cigars show up on my doorstep, and I open up the package, and they look great. We've got these nice, I don't know, bold-looking bands, very simple color, black and silver, but, I just think the bands really pop and stand out, especially the Hybrid band. I think that looks great. It's like red and chrome. But, when you start looking at the cigars, they look great. The consistency is, in terms of color, from one stick to the next is very good. The coloring on each individual stick is good. They're a nice sort of chocolatey brown. Veins are fairly small. Each one has a nice firm feel to it, like it's well packed with tobacco. And I was really excited about the cigars. Another thing that kind of made me excited about the cigars were these little extra trinkets that found their way into the box as well. I'm like easily amused, I guess. One of which was AKA Cigar dog tags. There were 5 of these. They're just red dog tags, nothing real special about them, but I thought they looked really cool, and the chances of this thing even coming out of the bag is like virtually 0. So, my dog tag will probably get tossed in a drawer or something if I don't just give it away outright. And another thing that I got, which I thought was really cool, were these little AKA cigar patches. The simple iron-on type, and I have a feeling that this one's going to go right on my range bag, and be going back and forth to the shooting range with me. But I thought this was kind of cool, and that kind of won me over. I'm excited about the cigars in general. The little extras kind of got me amped up, and I was really eager to try them. So the first one I decided to go with was the Respect. Now, this line of cigars, as I said, there are 2. There's the Hybrid and the Respect. The Respect is in honor of the armed forces. A percentage of all sales go towards the Wounded Warrior Project, and each size is named after a branch of the military. Or, for instance, the Guard, which is a 44x6, honors the Coast Guard and National Guard. The Anchors Away, which is a 4.5x52, honors the Navy. The Hua, which is a 5.5x50, honors the Army. The Aim High, which is a 7.25x50, honors the Air Force. The Reserves, which is a 6.5x54, honors the Reserves, and the Devil Dog, which is a 6x60, honors the Marines. So you've got a percentage of the proceeds going towards the Wounded Warrior Project, and each particular size in the line honors a different branch. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another thing that I really like about these cigars is because the band is high gloss, they come off like a dream. No damage to the wrapper, just kind of flicking the seam by accident with your finger just knocks them right off the cigar. And while some may find that annoying, I love it when a band comes off without me needing to tear it off. So much like all of the other samples I smoked, I accidentally flicked the wrapper or the band, and it virtually popped off. So we're almost bandless. So what do I think of the cigar so far? It's, you know, it's obviously got good intentions. I like the way that it's marketed. I like the way that it's branded. But, you know, what do I think of the cigar in general? Well, actually, before I do that, I want to talk a little bit more about the makeup. The wrapper is a dark Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, aged 4 years. The binder is a 4-year aged Honduran Corojo Ligero from the Iroa family. And the filler is 4- and 5-year-old Dominican Corojo Ligero and Honduran Corojo Ligero from Iroa and Kellner families. So, going into this, I'm expecting full-bodied. I mean, every aspect of this thing is made up of Ligero. It's going to have to be full-bodied. So, I was going into it anticipating, you know, a big, bold punch in the mouth. And pretty much, that's what you get. The first puff is really, really bold. It's a downright assault on the palate, and to be quite honest, I don't know that I like that. I like nice full-bodied cigars that are a nice firm press on the palate, not the sharp punch, if that makes much sense. This one really feels like it's beating up the palate, and we're still really early on in the cigar, and I'm feeling kind of weary already. My tongue feels a little fuzzy. The back of my throat has this annoying little scratchy feeling to it. So I'm a little concerned about where this cigar is going, because I would imagine it's only going to build from here on out. And again, we're like half an inch into this thing. So, you know, it's an all-out assault on the palate right from the get-go, which is kind of concerning. The finish is a little on the creamy side. It's very full-bodied. On the palate, flavor-wise, I'm getting some pepper, some spice, a little bit of like an oaky, kind of a woody sort of taste, and that's really about it at this early stage. In terms of smokability, I may be talking a bit much, so I'm fighting with this thing to keep it lit, and I think that may be my fault, but it's required a couple of touch-ups now. This is not the first time I've recorded this introduction, by the way. This is probably the 6th or 7th time where I just kind of scrapped it because I didn't like where it was going. But we're going with this one. And as a result, I've had to touch it up a handful of times. Smoke volume is really good. As you can see, there's a lot of smoke coming off this cigar. It's nice and aromatic. It's nowhere near as aggressive, you know, with the room aroma as it is, you know, straight up on the palate. So it's kind of pleasant to be in the room with it. I really can't distinguish the taste. It just, or the smell. It just smells like a, you know, a quality cigar. But so far we're off to a very aggressive start. So I'm going to take a break. I'll come back. We'll take a look at the cigar, probably at the halfway point, and we'll see how it goes, or see how it's going. Alright, well, it's been about a half an hour since I turned the camera off, and I'm at about the halfway point. So earlier on the cigar, I light it up, and it's really aggressive on the palate. You know, literally like a furry taste on my tongue. My palate's weary. Back of my throat's kind of scratchy. Just a really, really aggressive cigar. And it was that way for, I don't know, I would say maybe an inch and a half into the cigar. And over the last 15 minutes or so, that really aggressiveness has been tapering off a little bit. But as it's tapering off, I'm getting just a really sour, just unpleasant aftertaste out of the cigar. So you take a puff, it's got this nice creamy sort of texture to it. It's nice and thick, the smoke. It's easy to get through the sinus. It's just solid. It's exactly what you want in smoke itself. But it just leaves this god-awful aftertaste that I just can't get over. In fact, I thought, you know, this is just terrible. I put the cigar down, I ran upstairs, I grabbed a beer, thinking, okay, you know, this will sort of wash off that really aggressive aggressiveness that I've got going on my tongue. You know, it'll help alleviate the sore throat that I've got. You know, wash away this aggressiveness. It didn't touch it. So I finished the beer quickly. I run back upstairs and I'm making myself a cup of coffee. I'm thinking, if anything, you know, the coffee will be kind of creamy. It will be, you know, it will be full enough that it will help wash away that weary, just thick, furry, sort of overly aggressive feeling off my palate. And maybe this will help coat my throat. It'll get rid of that scratchiness, and it just, nothing is touching it. And like, I'm trying to be upbeat about the cigar. You know, I want to like it. You know, I love the packaging. I think the you know, the dog tags are cool. The patches are cool. I like that a percentage of sales go toward the Wounded Warrior Project. I like that it honors the military. I like all of that stuff about it. But the flavor, the aftertaste that I'm getting out of the cigar is just terrible. I don't know what it is. I just do not like it. And I'm kind of like kicking myself over this. This is cigar number 4. I couldn't finish the first 3. I mean, I got down a bit further than this. I think on one I actually got down past the second band. But all of them were just really aggressive and sort of sour, but I kept telling myself, no, you know, I just smoked them at the wrong time. You know, for whatever reason, it was just bum sticks or something. You know, this 4th one, this one's going to be it. It's going to be everything that I want out of it. It's going to be the cigar that I want it to be. And unfortunately, it's just not. And I'm finding it very, very unpleasant. And it brings a couple of things to mind. Now, so I talked with a couple of people in the industry. This was a long time ago, but you know, we were talking about the craze of ultra full-bodied cigars, and there were a couple of people that told me that there were manufacturers that were turning out tobacco before it was ready, and this, I don't know, this underage tobacco was really aggressive on the palate, and it sort of gave the illusion of being an ultra full-bodied cigar and having just a tremendous punch behind it, when in all actuality it was just tobacco that wasn't ready yet, and as a result it was just really, really aggressive. It wasn't actually full-bodied. And you know, I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought it was really interesting the second time I had heard it from a separate manufacturer. And when I heard it the 3rd time from another manufacturer yet, I started thinking, well, you know, I wonder who is turning out cigars like this. I mean, that had been my thought on the Rocky Patel Edge for a long time. That cigar was just unnecessarily rough, and people just sort of took it as ultra full bodied, but in all actuality I just thought it was a really harsh and rough cigar. And you know, I think this is kind of coming off the same way. It's just really aggressive on the palate when it doesn't need to be. It's sort of like if you were younger and you ever built a birdhouse or another similar tiny little woodworking project where you're using small finish nails. You know, you get out the little hammer and you drive the nails. This cigar is kind of like throwing away that little hammer and getting out a 3-pound sledge to drive this little nail. It's just totally, it's over the top, it's overkill. And I think all this power and all this aggressiveness on the palate is just unnecessary. You know, I don't know why it's there. I'm sure it appeals to some people, but you know, I think that this cigar will appeal to the same people that are in love with the Rocky Patel Edge. It's another cigar that I don't think highly of in terms of flavor. In terms of, you know, construction and the way the cigar smokes, this thing is beautiful. It looks fantastic. The color is good. The construction is good. Smoke volume is perfect. Draw is perfect. Smoke density is perfect. You know, I just cannot complain about the construction of the cigar. My one and only complaint, and the one that is most important to me, is flavor and how the cigar feels on the palate. And it's just, I don't know, again, I want to be upbeat, I want to like the cigar, but I just can't. And chances are very good that I'm not going to get down much further than this. So coming back later to revisit the cigar probably isn't going to happen. I mean, I've got some time to kill, so I may smoke this down a bit further, but I'm developing a headache, and it's getting to the point now where I can feel my heartbeat in my temples. So, just, I don't know, this cigar is like overkill with just aggressiveness. It's just not what I would like it to be, and I feel terrible for just blasting the cigar like this, but you know, it just, that's simply how I feel about it. Alright, well, this is about as far as I'm willing to smoke this cigar. I guess maybe 3/4 of an inch until I hit the primary band. But, I don't know. In every aspect, construction-wise, I think this is a beautiful cigar. But it just completely loses me with aggressiveness and just a bitter, sour, unpleasant aftertaste. You know, I've got cigars wrong before. You know, if I don't know, tell me if I got it wrong. You know, have you tried this cigar? Do you like this cigar? You know, what do you think it compares to? Looking over the AKA Cigars website, it looks like this cigar is in a lot of stores. It looks like it's doing fairly well. The AKA Cigars line in general seems to be doing pretty well with the number of accounts that they have listed on their website. So again, I just could be, maybe I could have got a bad batch, maybe I just got it wrong. I don't know. This is where I'm relying on you to tell me what your experience has been with the AKA Cigars Respect. So that's going to do it for the review. Until next time, I will catch you later.